Becky Lynch might choose the Vision over Seth Rollins. Becky Lynch might be about to do the most devastating thing a wife can do to her husband in professional wrestling, and I'm not talking about stealing the last slice of pizza. The man could be preparing to betray Seth Rollins and align herself with the Vision, the faction that just kicked Seth out, destroyed him, and forced him to vacate the World Heavyweight Championship. And the signs are all there if you're paying attention. Welcome back to the Wrestling Hidden Insight, and today we're breaking down why Becky Lynch joining the Vision actually makes sense, why her confrontation with Paul Heyman wasn't the rejection it appeared to be, how Seth and Becky being on opposite sides could create the best storyline either of them has had in years, and why sometimes in wrestling your spouse is the last person you can trust. Let's start with what happened this week on Raw because context is everything. Becky Lynch confronted Paul Heyman backstage on behalf of her husband Seth Rollins, who's currently sidelined after surgery. You'd expect Becky to go full protective wife mode, to threaten Heyman, to promise revenge for what the Vision did to Seth. And she did take shots at Heyman. She was confrontational. But here's what's interesting. She never directly confronted Braun Breaker. She never went after the guy who actually speared Seth and kicked him out of the Vision. She went after Paul Heyman, the wise man, the guy who's always open to negotiation and alliance. And Heyman, being Heyman, proposed exactly that. An alliance. Heyman suggested that while Seth is out of action, Becky should align with the Vision. And Becky walked out without giving a definitive answer. That non-answer is the key. Becky didn't say yes, but she also didn't say absolutely not. She didn't declare war on the Vision. She didn't make it clear that she would never work with the people who destroyed her husband. She confronted Heyman, heard his pitch, and left. That's not a rejection. That's someone considering their options. That's someone who might be more interested in what the Vision can offer than in staying loyal to Seth out of principle. Now let's talk about why Becky joining the Vision makes perfect sense from a character perspective. Becky Lynch is currently a heel. She's been a heel since turning on Lyra Valkyria after they lost the Women's Tag Team Championship. Becky attacked her former partner, took the Women's Intercontinental Championship from her, and has been one of Raw's top villains ever since. Heels do heel things. Heels prioritize themselves. Heels make ruthless decisions that hurt the people around them if it benefits their careers. And right now, Seth is injured and sidelined. He can't help Becky. He can't protect her. He's not valuable to her immediate goals. But the Vision? The Vision is the most dominant faction on Raw. They've got Paul Heyman. They've got Braun Breaker and Bronson Reed, who just took out the World Heavyweight Champion. Aligning with them gives Becky power, protection, and opportunities. 2 weeks ago, Becky lost to Maxine Dupree by countout and expressed her frustration to Seth. And Seth? Seth ignored her. He was too focused on his upcoming match with Cody Rhodes at Crown Jewel to care about Becky's problems. That moment established something important. Seth and Becky's priorities weren't aligned. Seth was obsessed with his championship and his rivalry. Becky felt dismissed and unsupported. That crack in their relationship is exactly the kind of thing WWE exploits when building betrayal storylines. Becky could justify joining the Vision by saying Seth never had her back when she needed him, so why should she have his back now? Becky has also built her entire heel run on doing what's best for herself regardless of who it hurts. She turned on Lyra Valkyria, her tag team partner. She's targeted everyone in the women's division who stands between her and dominance. She's weaponized her championship in matches to get disqualified rather than lose clean. These are not the actions of someone who's going to let loyalty to her husband stop her from advancing her career. If Becky believes joining the Vision benefits her, she'll do it. And she'll justify it by saying it's business, not personal. There's also the storytelling potential of Seth returning as a babyface. Seth got betrayed by his own faction. He got kicked out of the Vision. He got destroyed by Braun and Reed. And he had to vacate the World Heavyweight Championship because of the injuries they inflicted. When Seth comes back, he's going to be seeking revenge. He's going to be the sympathetic figure who lost everything and is fighting to get it back. That's a babyface. That's a character fans will naturally support. But if Seth is a babyface and Becky is still a heel, they can't both be on the same side. One of them has to turn or they have to feud. And WWE might not be ready to turn Becky face yet. She's too good as a heel. She's generating heat. She's making people want to see her lose. So the solution is to keep Becky heel and have her betray Seth to join the Vision, which solidifies Seth's babyface turn and gives both of them compelling individual storylines. Imagine the visual. Seth returns from injury, ready to go after the Vision. He's got revenge on his mind. He's focused on destroying Braun Breaker and Bronson Reed. And then the Vision's music hits, they come out and Becky Lynch is with them. Standing between Paul Heyman and Braun Breaker. Wearing Vision gear. staring at her husband with no remorse. That image would break the internet. That would be one of the most shocking moments in recent WWE history. And it would immediately create the hottest feud on Raw because Seth would have to choose between getting revenge on the Vision and confronting his wife about why she betrayed him. The husband versus wife storyline also writes itself. Seth and Becky are a real-life married couple. They have history both in and out of the ring. They've teamed together. They've supported each other's careers. They've been each other's biggest advocates. And now Becky is siding with the people who destroyed Seth? That's personal. That's emotional. That's the kind of story that transcends wrestling and becomes legitimate drama. Fans would be invested not just because it's a good angle but because it's a real couple going through real conflict, even if it's scripted conflict. Becky joining the Vision also gives the faction something it doesn't currently have. A woman. The Vision is Braun, Reed, and Heyman. All men. Adding Becky gives them a complete faction. She could be the Women's Intercontinental Champion representing the Vision in the women's division. She could cut promos with Heyman. She could be the one defending the Vision's actions to the media and on social media. She makes the Vision more well-rounded and gives them even more presence on the show. And let's be real about Paul Heyman's pitch. Heyman is the greatest talker in wrestling history. If anyone can convince Becky to betray Seth, it's Heyman. Heyman can frame it as Becky taking control of her own destiny, not being Seth's wife but being her own woman, not playing second fiddle to Seth's championship pursuits but being the centerpiece of the most dominant faction on Raw. Heyman can make betrayal sound like empowerment. And if Becky is ambitious, if she's tired of being in Seth's shadow, if she wants to prove she doesn't need him to be successful, Heyman's pitch might be exactly what she wants to hear.